You've been lied to. Not in a dramatic way, in a quiet, profitable way. Every summer, millions of Americans walk into a hardware store, grab a can of bug spray off the shelf, spray synthetic chemicals on their skin and their children's skin, and head outside, only to be bitten again within 2 hours. So they go back inside, reapply, and repeat that cycle every single evening from June through September. The spray companies aren't hiding that their product stops working in 90 minutes. It's right there on the label in small print. What they're not telling you is that there are plants, common, inexpensive plants available at virtually every garden center in America, that have been scientifically documented to outperform those sprays. Not match them, outperform them. One plant on this list was shown in research published in a peer-reviewed scientific journal to repel mosquitoes 10 times more effectively than DEET at the same concentration. The same DEET that has been the foundation of the American bug spray industry for over 75 years. A plant that costs $3 is beating it by a factor of 10. I'm going to show you 11 of these plants today. For each one, I'll tell you the exact compound responsible, what it does to a mosquito at a biological level, which USDA growing zones it thrives in, where to place it in your yard, and how to use it directly on your skin when you need immediate protection. And at the end, I'll show you how to arrange all 11 into a 3-zone system that covers your entire outdoor space from your fence line to your back door. Drop your state or your USDA growing zone in the comments. Where you live changes everything about which of these plants will perform best for you. Now let's get into it. Plant 1. Lavender. To understand why lavender works, you need to understand how a mosquito hunts. A mosquito doesn't see you coming. It tracks you through 3 chemical signals simultaneously: the carbon dioxide leaving your lungs with every breath, the lactic acid releasing from your skin, and the heat radiating off your body. It processes all 3 at once, running a continuous lock-on system that homes in on you from surprising distances. That system is extraordinarily precise, and lavender dismantles it entirely. The compound inside lavender responsible for this is linalool, a naturally occurring terpene alcohol. Linalool doesn't simply smell unpleasant to a mosquito the way a candle might smell unpleasant to a person. It physically interferes with the mosquito's ability to detect all 3 of those tracking signals at once. Not one of them. All 3. The mosquito doesn't decide to leave. It loses you completely and moves on because it has no other option. The species most disrupted by linalool is Aedes aegypti, the primary vector for West Nile virus in the United States, infecting thousands of Americans annually. This matters beyond comfort. This is disease prevention growing in a garden pot. Lavender is hardy across USDA zones 5 through 9, covering the South, the Midwest, the Mid-Atlantic, and the Pacific Coast. In those zones, it's a true perennial plant at once, and it comes back stronger every year. It demands 6 to 8 hours of direct sun daily and well-draining soil, and once established, it handles heat and drought without complaint, making it an excellent fit for Texas, Arizona, and inland Southern California. Placement matters with lavender. One mature plant creates a repellent radius of roughly 10 feet. Plant 3 in a loose triangle around your outdoor seating area, and those fields overlap into a near-complete barrier. Position at least one directly beside your back door. Every time you walk past it, you release a fresh burst of linalool into the air around you without touching it, without thinking about it, without doing anything at all. Dried lavender from your own garden placed in your linen closet also repels clothes moths just as effectively. One plant protecting your outdoor evenings and your winter sweaters at the same time. Plant 2. Lemongrass. Most people have bought a citronella candle at some point. Most people have also noticed that it doesn't seem to do much. There's a reason for that, and understanding it makes what lemongrass actually does much clearer. A lit citronella candle releases its active oil into the surrounding air at roughly 0.05% concentration. That sounds small because it is small. The moment any kind of breeze exists, and there is almost always a breeze when you're sitting outside on a summer evening, that concentration drops below detectable levels within just a few feet of the flame. You smell it. The mosquitoes don't care. They're sitting 2 feet outside the range, waiting for you to give up. Lemongrass, known botanically as Cymbopogon citratus, contains citronella oil naturally packed into its leaves and stalks at concentrations that dwarf anything a candle can produce. And it releases that oil continuously, around the clo. CK in any wind condition, with no flame and no maintenance. The mechanism is the same as the candle. Citronella masks the chemical trail that leads mosquitoes to human skin, turning their scent map into static, but the delivery is incomparably more effective. In zones 9 through 11, which includes Florida, the Gulf Coast, Southern California, and Hawaii, lemongrass grows as a perennial, returning every year in dramatic clumps 3 to 5 feet tall. Line it along a fence, and you get a natural privacy screen that simultaneously produces a continuous chemical mosquito barrier along your entire yard edge. In zones 6 through 8, grow it in large containers. Bring it indoors before the first frost. Let it grow near a bright window through the winter, and move it back outside when the weather turns. Tonight, before you go outside, cut a fresh stalk, crush it between your palms, and rub the oil onto your forearms, your legs, and the back of your neck. The citronella oil in fresh lemongrass is completely skin-safe, smells genuinely good, and gives you immediate personal protection stacked on top of what the plant is already doing just by standing in your yard. 2 layers of defense from a single plant. Plant 3. Basil. Every repellent on this list works in roughly the same way. It interferes with a mosquito's ability to find you. Basil does that too, but basil also does something that nothing you can buy in a spray can does. It attacks mosquitoes before they're even mosquitoes. Basil contains 3 compounds, eugenol, citronellol, and limonene, that research published in entomology journals has documented as functioning like a larvicide. That means these compounds kill mosquito larvae in standing water. If you have a bird bath, a garden pond, a decorative water feature, or even a low spot in your yard that holds rainwater after a storm, planting basil nearby doesn't just repel the mosquitoes already flying around your patio. It ends the breeding cycle at the source. The next generation doesn't survive to fly. You're not managing a mosquito problem. You're systematically reducing the mosquito population in your yard season after season. The variety you choose matters significantly. Lemon basil and cinnamon basil both carry higher concentrations of those larvicidal compounds than standard sweet basil. If your nursery carries either variety, choose them. If not, they're available through Burpee, True Leaf Market, and Park Seed, all of which ship to every state. Because basil thrives in containers, placement is entirely flexible. A large pot directly on your outdoor dining table creates a repellent field right at the center of your activity. 1 pot on each side of your back door, a row along your patio edge. You're putting protection exactly where your family is, not 10 feet away from where they are, not pointed in the general direction of your seating area, but right there at the table where people eat, talk, and spend their evenings. Plant 4. Lemon balm. Most of the plants on this list are powerful. Lemon balm is gentle, and that specific quality makes it irreplaceable for families with young children or anyone with sensitive skin. Lemon balm belongs to the mint family and contains citronella-related compounds at a softer concentration. Studies confirm it repels mosquitoes, gnats, and flying midges effectively when applied directly to skin, and it is gentle enough for that daily direct application on children without any concern about what you're putting on their bodies. No synthetic ingredients. No warnings on the label. You crush a handful of leaves between your palms and rub the oils onto your child's arms and legs. That's the entire process. It takes 20 seconds. It grows as an aggressive, fast-spreading plant across zones 4 through 9, which covers the overwhelming majority of the continental United States. The speed at which it grows makes it nearly impossible to kill, which is genuinely useful for anyone who struggles to keep plants alive. The one firm rule is to always grow it in containers or inside a buried pot, because left unrestricted in open garden soil, it will claim far more territory than you intended by the end of one growing season. There is also a secondary benefit worth knowing about. Clinical research has confirmed that lemon balm measurably reduces anxiety and improves sleep quality when taken as a tea. Fresh leaves steeped in hot water for a few minutes before bed, completely free from your own garden. A single pot on your deck functioning simultaneously as a mosquito repellent for the whole family, a topical bug deterrent safe enough for your youngest child, and a nightly sleep aid. That is a significant amount of value from one $3 plant. Plant 5. Rosemary. Rosemary has been growing in American gardens for centuries as a cooking herb. Most people have never looked past that. But rosemary is actively doing something in your yard right now that most people have no idea of. It contains 4 volatile compounds: 1. 8-cineol, camphor, alpha-pinene, and borneol. The word volatile here has a specific meaning. These compounds evaporate into the surrounding air at normal outdoor temperatures. Not when you crush the leaves, not when you hold a flame to it. All the time, every hour of every day, simply because the plant is alive and growing. Rosemary is continuously releasing a chemical field into the air around it, whether you're paying attention or not. That field has been documented in research to repel Aedes aegypti with consistent, measurable results. These compounds interact with octopamine receptors in the mosquito's nervous system and trigger a physiological stress response that drives avoidance. The mosquito isn't choosing to avoid your yard. Its own nervous system is compelling it to leave. In zones 7 through 11, it's a permanent fixture, a woody perennial that establishes fast, demands almost no maintenance, handles heat and drought without difficulty, and gets larger and more aromatic every single year. In zones 5 and 6, grow it in a large container. Bring it inside near a south-facing window before the first hard freeze, and return it to the yard in spring. Before you light the grill, lay 4 or 5 thick fresh rosemary branches directly on the hot grates. The heat drives the essential oils out immediately and releases them in a concentrated cloud across your entire cooking area. Your food takes on a subtle, smoky, herbal depth that people always notice and ask about. And you won't have a single mosquito near the grill for the rest of the evening. One plant that repels mosquitoes every hour of the day, improves every meal you cook outside, and makes your yard smell extraordinary. Plant 6. Peppermint. Peppermint contains menthol and menthone. In a fresh peppermint leaf, the concentration of these compounds is extraordinarily high, and when they make contact with a mosquito's chemoreceptors, what happens isn't simple repellency. The mosquito experiences complete sensory overload. Its chemical detection system doesn't just get confused, it shuts down entirely. The mosquito cannot navigate, cannot track a target, and leaves. A study published in Bioresource Technology tested peppermint oil under controlled conditions against multiple mosquito species. Against certain species, it achieved 100% repellency. That number is almost never seen in repellent research. 80% is considered strong. 90% is exceptional. 100% from a plant that costs a few dollars and grows on a windowsill. The application is fast enough to do without thinking. 1 leaf, crushed between your fingers, rubbed across your forearms, the back of your neck, and your ankles. 10 seconds. No drying time, no waiting, no reapplication schedule. Nothing on your skin you'd hesitate to put there. Just immediate protection that smells clean and sharp, and nothing like a chemical. Peppermint is hardy across zones 3 through 11. Essentially, the entire United States, including most of Alaska. Almost no climate in this country is inhospitable to it. The one absolute rule is that you must contain it. In open garden soil, it spreads with an aggression that will surprise you by midsummer. Grow it in containers or use the buried pot method. Sink a large pot with drainage holes into your garden bed with just the rim showing above soil level. Let the plant grow freely above ground, while the container blocks all lateral roots spread below. You get the benefit without the invasion. Plant 7. Catnip. Everything changes with this one. Research conducted at Iowa State University and published in the journal Science found that catnip repels mosquitoes 10 times more effectively than DEET at equivalent concentrations. 10 times more effective than the active ingredient in every major bug spray brand that has dominated the American market for over 75 years. Every product on every shelf at every hardware store, every big box retailer, every pharmacy, all of it built around an ingredient that a $3 garden plant beats by a factor of 10. The compound responsible is nepetalactone. It binds to mosquito olfactory receptors and triggers an avoidance response of a completely different character than ordinary repellents. Ordinary repellents make mosquitoes uncomfortable enough that they drift away over time. Nepetalactone causes them to flee immediately. That distinction between discomfort and flight is not a small one when you're sitting outside trying to enjoy your own yard. Catnip is hardy in zones 3 through 9, grows rapidly from seed or transplant, produces small white and purple flowers that look genuinely good in a garden setting, and spreads quickly enough that containment is necessary. If cats visit your yard, grow it in elevated containers or hanging baskets. The repellent effect is identical at any height, and the plant survives the visit. This is the plant to start with if you're only Owing to try one thing from this entire list. The research speaks for itself. Plant 8. Marigolds. 3,000 years. That's how long humans have been planting marigolds at the edges of their gardens and living spaces. The Aztecs did it. The Egyptians did it. The Romans did it. 3 civilizations on 3 continents with no contact with each other, all arriving at the same conclusion through direct observation. Now modern chemistry has given us the exact reason they were all right. Marigolds contain pyrethrum, a natural insecticidal compound so chemically potent and so precisely effective that the synthetic pesticide industry used it as the direct template for an entire product category called pyrethroids, now among the most widely deployed insecticides on Earth. The chemical industry looked at what a marigold produces naturally and spent enormous resources trying to replicate it synthetically. The natural version, as it turns out, is more precise and significantly less disruptive to beneficial insects, soil biology, and the broader garden ecosystem than the synthetic copy they created from it. Dense rows of marigolds planted along your fence line, the edge of your patio, and the perimeter of your lawn create a chemical boundary that insects are physiologically reluctant to cross. They bloom continuously from late spring through the first frost in deep golds, bright oranges, and warm yellows that make a yard look genuinely tended and alive, and they require almost no attention once planted. Available everywhere, typically under $3 per plant. For anyone growing vegetables, place marigolds around the beds. They suppress soil nematodes, deter the beetles and flies that attack tomatoes, peppers, and squash, and reduce your mosquito problem simultaneously. 3 separate benefits from one plant in one location. Plant 9. Scented geraniums. This is the plant that experienced gardeners know and almost no one else does. That gap is worth closing. Scented geraniums, specifically the variety Pelargonium citronellum, commonly sold as citronella geranium or lemon geranium, contain high concentrations of 2 compounds, citronellol and geraniol. Geraniol has been studied extensively enough that it is now listed as an active ingredient in multiple EPA-registered natural insect repellents currently sold commercially. That matters. It means this isn't anecdotal. It means this compound survived the scrutiny of regulatory review and is being used in products specifically because it works. When you're at the nursery, look for citronella geranium, lemon geranium, or the Latin name Pelargonium citronellum. The citrus-scented varieties carry the highest compound concentrations and perform best. They're also available through Logis, Burpee, and Park Seed with national shipping if local sourcing isn't possible. In zones 10 and 11, they grow year-round as perennials. In zones 7 through 9, they're semi-hardy and benefit from light protection when frost threatens. In zones 3 through 6, bring them indoors before winter. They adapt well to life near a bright window and go right back outside in spring. Crush one leaf between your fingers and rub it on exposed skin. Geraniol transfers immediately and adds personal protection directly on top of what the plant is already producing in the air around it. Plant 10. Aliums. Garlic, onions, chives, leeks. Every member of the Allium family produces allicin, the sulfur compound behind that sharp, deeply pungent smell. Allicin is not just a repellent. At sufficient concentration, it is genuinely toxic to many insect species, disrupting enzyme function at a biological level. Mosquitoes, flies, aphids, and beetles all show strong, consistent avoidance behavior around allium plants. Make this tonight. Crush 6 garlic cloves and steep them in 2 cups of water for 24 hours. Strain the liquid, add a teaspoon of liquid dish soap as an emulsifier, and pour it into a spray bottle. Apply it around the perimeter of your seating area and onto the leaves of surrounding plants. The barrier lasts several days and is completely harmless to humans, pets, birds, and every beneficial insect in your garden. You just made a professional-grade mosquito deterrent from your kitchen for essentially no cost. Chives are perennial in zones 3 through 9, produce purple globe flowers that actively attract pollinators all summer, and need virtually no care. Plant garlic along the edges of your yard in fall, and it releases allicin into the surrounding soil and air continuously throughout the entire growing season, working passively, around the clock, with no effort from you. Plant 11. Pennyroyal. Most guides on this topic skip pennyroyal. It deserves better than that. Pennyroyal is a mint family member containing pulegon, one of the most potent natural insect repellent compounds identified in botanical research. Native American communities and Appalachian settlers used it for over 200 years as standard practice before going outdoors, crushing the leaves and rubbing them on skin and clothing. Modern chemical analysis has since confirmed exactly why that worked and validated the practice entirely. It also repels fleas and ticks, making it distinctly valuable for anyone with dogs who spend time in the yard. Most plants on this list target mosquitoes. Pennyroyal handles mosquitoes, fleas, and ticks simultaneously from a single contained plant. One fact that deserves to be stated plainly: pennyroyal essential oil in concentrated form is not safe for internal use or during pregnancy. The plant grown in your garden and used by rubbing crushed leaves on skin for outdoor protection is safe for general use. That's an important distinction, and you should have it clearly. Hardy in zones 6 through 9. Always grow in containers. 11 plants. Now here's how to deploy them so they work as a system instead of 11 separate experiments. Divide your outdoor space into 3 zones. Your outer perimeter is the boundary of your yard, your fence line, your lawn edge, the outermost point of the space you inhabit. This is where you plant lemongrass, marigolds, aliums, and garlic. These plants form a chemical front line that intercepts mosquitoes before they enter your living space. They stop the problem at the source. Your middle buffer is the space between that perimeter and where you actually spend time. Fill it with lavender, rosemary, scented geraniums, and pennyroyal. These plants create a dense, layered chemical field that any mosquito breaking through the outer perimeter will fly directly into. Multiple compounds hitting simultaneously, each disrupting mosquito navigation through a different biological mechanism. This zone creates depth. It means the system doesn't fail the moment one plant is having a slow day. Your immediate zone is the space right where you live, your table, your chairs, the steps at your back door. Basil on the dining table, peppermint at the edges of your seating area, lemon balm near your favorite chair, catnip in elevated planters within arm's reach. This is personal, constant, immediate protection at the exact point of contact between mosquitoes and your family. 3 zones, 11 plants, a living system that runs every hour of every day while you're sleeping, while you're cooking, while your kids are running around the yard without any spray, any flame, any chemical on anyone's skin, or any thought from you once it's planted. You don't need all 11 to begin. Pick 2 or 3 based on your zone and what's available locally, place them deliberately using this framework, and you will feel the difference this summer. The system scales. Start small and add to it. Now you know exactly what works and precisely why. Go build something that lasts.